Alrighty, this is happening. This is an experiment of sorts for my test stream for this afternoon. But I'm just going to do some warm-ups. Thank you for being here. Let's get this show on the road. I'm just going to do some figure drawing warm-ups from the Sketch Daily website. generally with gestures, like the idea is to try to get as much of the core of the pose down in just a couple lines. So like I know that the line of the shoulders is here, I know the line of the hips is here, and this is kind of like the general angle of her legs. And especially in figure poses, like one leg is the one that's doing majority of the work, so that's always going to be some kind of in line with the head, especially if it's a standing pose. And then I kind of put in the chest, make sure the hips are good in there, and always remembering that there has to be a place for the stomach. I had a teacher in art school that used to just like yell at us about like remembering that like the rib cage and the stomach were two separate things and that the body doesn't go directly from like the chest into the butt. Hi, Mike. I was just making sure that all my camera stuff was working, so I decided just to do a little warm-ups today before this afternoon. Like you haven't gotten enough of watching me draw yet? Probably a little bit more boring than the live stream's going to be this afternoon. I got permission from Jonathan, and I'm allowed to set up the tent in the office again, so I'm excited about that. It's true. I'm really excited. I managed to find a old oh my gosh, how do I even describe it? It's just essentially like an old adapter, like an outdated adapter, so that I can you actually hook up my DSLR camera to the computer. All of like the traditional like cam link updated ones that people have been using to stream with their DSLR are all sold out because everybody's been streaming during the lockdown. But I managed to find like an old outdated one, quote unquote outdated one, on eBay for pretty cheap. So I'm excited about that. So the quality of my streams might go up a little bit. I'm sure I'm kind of one of the only ones that cares very much about it, but the only downside being is like I can only use it for streams. It doesn't work for like Zoom calls and that kind of stuff. For that, I still have to use my crappy old webcam. Although supposedly people have been having a hard time getting their hands on like HD webcams nowadays too, which is kind of funny. feel like I need to have like some kind of like lo-fi hip-hop music going on. Or have better stories to tell. It is a little bit harder when there isn't somebody actively filling up the dead space for me, like on the stream yesterday. Just 3 people watching? Where did you guys come from? I didn't think that there were anybody who was actually paying attention to this channel, to be honest. Oh wow, her head is a little bit small for her body. Oh, we're doing pretty good. Let's do another standing pose. I obviously need to practice my ability to Bob Ross. AKA talk and do the thing at the same time. Make up stories about weird characters. Who knows? Maybe I'll just start art streaming. Although most of the work that I've been doing nowadays, I can't really stream publicly because it's mostly commissions. I don't think that they want me to be broadcasting what I'm working on for them until they get to announce it. So, although I can tease, I've been working on this cool project for these ladies who got a grant right before the lockdown to make a kind of like travel film for Travel Oregon, and it's like ladies on dirt bikes and a trials bike and that kind of stuff, and I'm just super stoked to get to work with them on it. Or I get to make the movie poster for them is what I mean. It's been really great to work with them because they're one of my few clients that like are familiar with my work, so they trust me to produce something that's gonna look good and it's gonna meet their needs, and I love it when that happens. Those are my favorite clients. Favorite people to work for. It's like they just give me a prompt and they just let me loose on it. That probably makes me a little bit selfish, but you know. I feel like everybody has to understand like that it's kind of awesome to be trusted, to have people know that like you're gonna make good work for them, like without them being super hands-on. But also just to be able to feel like you're free to be creative and take a couple chances while also maintaining integrity of the work. It's cool. It also like sours me for like working for a lot of new people. So I've gotten really good at like narrowing down people like just in the first couple emails of like whether or not they're gonna be super needy or not. So I try to emphasize to them, I'm like, it's gonna be so much cheaper if you just trust me to do my thing. Like, and I've been trying to get better about like if they're gonna be problem client isn't the correct word, but just like never happy with whatever I have to produce for them because like they just hire me because they think that I they don't quite understand like when you hire an artist you're hiring them for like what they're good at, like their skill and the niche that they're in. And some people are just like, well, you can draw, you can like make it look like however I want it to look, which isn't true. Horror story, I had a client once that like hired me supposedly because they liked the way that I drew my motorcycles and they liked that I drew women on motorcycles and that kind of stuff. And then, um, like, it was just a nightmare. They wanted me to draw like in like the Rat Fink style, and I tried to explain to them that's not my style. Like, um, and they just hard headed me until like I made something kind of similar, and I hated the work like the whole time. Um, and from that experience, like I kind of learned the hard way that like if somebody is gonna ask you to copy somebody else's style or like a genre that isn't in your wheelhouse, like it's better just to cut ties early and be like, I can't do this for you. I'm sorry, kind of, because it's not worth like any kind of money to have to sacrifice like your integrity as an artist and or make work that you're not proud to show other people, that you're not proud to have your name on, um, just for a paycheck. um, and I it's part of the reason that I'm reluctant to go full time because like I don't want to be reliant on anybody paying my bills, um, or not. I don't want to be reliant on taking shitty jobs in interest of just being able to pay bills. So plus I enjoy working at REI. It's a good side job. All the people there are super nice, and you know, before the whole lockdown and everything, everybody like enjoyed what they did there. You know, and I do too. Like it's really, I'm a cashier right now, but they were talking about moving me up to the second floor, and I just really love getting to share what I have learned through like my limited experience of the outdoors, motorcycle camping and that kind of stuff, um, with people who are just getting into it. And like my experience, like motorcycle camping still converts to like a lot of people who are just getting started, who are probably just going to go car camping, um, and that kind of stuff. I helped some little girl pick out her first hydration pack. It was super cool. So in that sense, it's like really rewarding, but also still being a job that doesn't take a lot of um, stressful brain power like my last job. So I still have like a decent amount of energy when I get home to work on like personal projects and YouTube videos, or the motorcycle YouTube videos that I do for the As the Magpie Flies channel. Um, yeah, I really enjoy it. Like the like pay is just enough that I'm not going to be worried about uh, paying bills if like I can't finish a commission in a certain amount of time or something like that. It's definitely not cushy pay by any means, but it's just like just enough to be what I needed and not be stressful. And that's all that I really wanted, was to not walk into another job that was going to be just as stressful as the one that I got let go of last year. So it's kind of been a bit of a bummer to be furloughed until July. As much as I've enjoyed having like the extra time to work on personal projects and that kind of stuff, I miss my work family. They've been doing like Zoom calls once a month so that we can all hang out together, which is cool. I missed the one this month, so I have to wait till next month to see their faces again. But it's funny how much of a bond you can develop with people that you work with. especially when you consider like you practically see them every day. I mean, like I don't see them every day. I work part-time, so I see them like 3 or 4 days a week. But they're they're my other work family. And I felt that way about like the people that I worked with at the dealership too. But everybody was so stressed and everything. It felt like working in a war zone almost. So like that anxiety and that stress kind of came through in all those relationships as well. So it was more like we were all just kind of like trying to get through it together. Versus like actually like making strong friendships and that kind of stuff. I do have a couple like of strong friends that I made there, but not as uh, encompassing as like at REI, where like I feel like I'm friends with like literally everybody who works there, including all the managers who like actually give a damn about us. And I definitely didn't feel that way at the dealership. It was really refreshing, and it's crazy and kind of is a reflection of how not healthy that work environment was, that like I was shocked and surprised when like one of my managers like came up to me like I wasn't feeling great that day, and they're like, if you're not feeling your best, if you feel sick, you need to go home. And I was like, what? And they're like, it's okay, we can call somebody else in to like, you know, carry your shift and that kind of stuff so that we're not left empty handed, but if you're not feeling well, you shouldn't be here. And I think that's like a reflection of like how REI really cares about their employees and about like that work life balance and that kind of stuff. And I just really appreciated that. And I was all shocked, and they thought that it was kind of weird that I was shocked. And I was like, no, you don't understand. I've worked for so many like unhealthy employers that this is just like makes me want to cry. Anyway, I sound like I drank the Kool-Aid or something. I guess I kind of did. We'll do a couple more, round out the 30 minutes, and then I'll hop off. Thank you for being here. That's super cool. I really didn't expect anybody to join me. Warming up is like simultaneously like a good and bad thing. It's good in the sense that like I kind of get a hang of drawing shapes and that kind of stuff, and it means that like whatever I work on next is gonna be better than it would if I started it cold turkey. But it also like I get a lot of like ideas for personal work while I do warm ups, and I don't have time to work on personal work. I need to work on commissions. The struggle is real. Sometimes I win the battle and I work on what I'm supposed to work on after I finish my warm ups, and sometimes I do not win the battle and I work on personal work. But lately, I've been making excuses for myself that that's okay, because a lot of that personal work has been like watercolor paintings, and they sell pretty immediately on Etsy as soon as I like list them, within a couple hours anyway. So that's been really cool. So I've been trying to give myself a break about guilt tripping myself about working on personal work, since like it's still creating a little bit of an income, which is nice. It's still kind of crazy to me. I like in my head I'm still like this weird kid that just got out of college that nobody knows and nobody cares about my work, and so it's still a trip and really exciting to me every time like I list something on Etsy and it sells like pretty immediately. Um, it's been really cool. Really didn't see like the whole like making content about my motorcycle like attracting so many people who would also care about my artwork and that kind of stuff. That part has been pretty amazing to me. Although I still cringe when like motorcycle magazines and that kind of stuff contact me and they're like, could you just like talk about how your motorcycles inform your artwork? And I'm like, okay. I don't really know what to say. How about a frog squat warm up? Yeah, okay, Jack. I will do this just for you, but just this once. Frog. Frog squat. Like the pose or like an animal? I'm gonna do the pose until the stream catches up because there's a bit of a delay. Like hands down like a frog? Well, we're at the 30-minute mark. I have to quit. I need to do other things before the stream this afternoon. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you for being here for this weird test stream of warm ups. I will see you guys later. Bye.